Welcome back to Business Success. I'm Chloe James for RFI Group. Now, we've had a few ex-corporate lawyers on Business Success of late, and tonight I welcome another in Lachlan McKnight, who, following roles with some of the biggest global players across London, Paris, Amsterdam and Hong Kong, he has set his cap in Sydney with his very own business, taking on the big guns and doing quite nicely. I'm told Lachlan dreams about his business, LegalVision. Hopefully he's not going to be dreaming now, but he's here to tell me all about it. Lachlan, welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me.
Can you tell me a little bit about LegalVision, who you are and what you do? And I think in this, the online versus what you do bricks and mortar as well.
Yeah, sure. So LegalVision's a tech-driven law firm. That's sort of how we describe it these days. We started off as a sort of pure online play, servicing mainly SMEs. We now service quite a lot of enterprise customers as well, and our model there is to really build tech solutions for large corporates, tech legal solutions. So we combine technology and legal skill, and there's a business there, and then we also have a business in the SME space where we service SMEs by providing fixed fee, really quick turnaround legal services. Okay, so someone needs some legal advice, they come online straight away, and then they might then obviously go to meeting with a lawyer following that. Okay, sure, so it really depends on what the client wants. So we have a lot of clients these days who don't really want to have to go into the office to meet a lawyer, who need something like a lease review done or a franchise review done, that sort of thing. They're really looking for a pretty quick solution, and the online model works well for that. But if clients are looking for potentially sort of, larger services, dispute, litigation, that sort of thing, they generally do want to come in and meet someone. So we have offices in Sydney and Melbourne for those people to come in and meet us, yeah.
Okay, cool, to have a chat about it. And a bit about the tech side of things. So you obviously give technical legal advice as well and technical solutions. Can you describe that just a little bit further?
So we have 4 developers in our team, and we build a range of solutions. So firstly, we build solutions to make our lawyers work much more effectively and efficiently than a traditional firm. So it's a big part of what we do. The second thing that we do is for enterprise clients, so large corporates, we'll build tech solutions that really combine a tech and a legal kind of side to them. So by that, we'll build, for instance, document automation platforms for clients that are looking to really speed up the way that they're drafting documents. But at the back end of that, we can have our lawyers reviewing the automated documents just to make sure that they're signed off. And because we're an incorporated legal practice, we are a law firm, it really means we provide a pretty efficient solution.
Yeah, I think that's the thing that's sort of coming out to me. It's that real efficiency, and that's what people are wanting. Well, businesses, especially if you're working in that space, are wanting just efficiency across everything they do. It's just, time is money.
Sure, it is. And look, at the end of the day, every business is looking for cost savings, and legal spend is a cost. So a lot of business owners and general counsels in particular are really looking to kind of reduce their spend, and that's where we come in. We can kind of help them achieve that.
Yeah. So at 3.5 years old, the company, as I understand, how many people have you got in the team now, and how are you sort of how are you leading them?
Sure. Yeah. So we've got 54 team members now. So we've doubled in size in the last year.
Wow.
Which has been it's been obviously a challenge and a lot of fun. In terms of leading the team, I mean, look, we have a very diverse team. We have some team members that work remotely. We have, most of our team members working in our Surrey Hills headquarters. We have a team in Melbourne. So there's a lot of online collaboration, and that's very important. And at the end of the day, we have a pretty young team as well. So it's working with a team in a sort of modern way. Again, there's not too much hierarchy. Everyone's voice is heard, and we provide a lot of opportunity for people to come in because the business is growing so quickly. Lots of opportunities in terms of management responsibility are opening up. And I think that allows us to attract really quality candidates and hopefully keep them.
Yeah, that Surrey Hills point, and I guess just for those not in Sydney, Surrey Hills is obviously inner city, but quite a trendy suburb, usually where all the fashion houses and advertising companies are. Is that deliberate?
Yeah, well, partly. I mean, it's important to be somewhere where everyone can get to. So Surrey Hills is good because it's obviously pretty central. But a lot of tech startups are in Surrey Hills, and we have a lot of tech startup clients. So being available there, being in a place where we can work with them. We put on a lot of events in our office, so we have a pretty kind of funky office. We can put on events, and that's really a great place to be for that.
Yeah, that's fantastic. So that startup world, because obviously I have a lot of startups on Business Success and working with those people. How is that experience, and how do you sort of guide them in their legal advice a little bit differently to the more traditional players?
Sure. I mean, look, the first thing is we are a startup ourselves. We've raised 3 rounds of capital, so we actually kind of know what we're talking about, rather than a sort of traditional lawyer who has never really done it. So that's really a point of difference. At the end of the day, another point of difference is we assist lots and lots of startups, so we really see what people do right and what people do wrong, so we can kind of guide the startups from that side of things. Look, in terms of the main things to look out for, when we assist a lot of people with capital raising, the reality is it's very difficult to raise venture capital. And, a starting point, I think, for a lot of people is to really think about, do they need to raise capital? Or can they actually bootstrap? Can they build up their business to a stage where it's actually generating free cash flow?
Would you encourage that, a bootstrapping as opposed to raising?
Sure. I mean, I think it's a great way to start your business.
Yep.
On the other hand, there are some startups that just can't get anywhere without venture capital. Startups that are in the robotics field or, really building, pure tech plays. What I do find is, and particularly in our business, is you can go a long way with a small amount of money. So if you're very, very careful with your own money that you put into the business and with your first couple of rounds of capital, it certainly does help, because it avoids, obviously, excessive dilution in the early days, and that's a big thing that people should look out for.
So business owners obviously watching the show tonight, would your advice to them be obviously to engage with a legal services provider and other such experts that perhaps they're not expert in themselves, to sort of build that strong foundation for a successful business? They say so many small businesses fail in that first year.
Sure. Look, I mean, I think, to be frank, there's probably not that many businesses that have failed in the first year because they didn't have lots of legal advice. A lot of businesses fail because they're not good businesses, first and foremost. The time to bring in a lawyer is really when you've got something reasonable, and you want to sort of start protecting yourself and protecting your IP and so on and so forth. I'd say the key is to set aside a reasonable amount of money for it, but to really shop around and look for a good option for you. You don't need to work on an hourly rate with a lawyer these days. There's lots of firms like ours that offer fixed fees and very competitive pricing. So again, and that's the same in the accounting space. So there's really opportunities if you shop around to get a good deal, and that means that you can spread your spend a bit and make sure that you get the advice that you need.
Yeah, it's some really good advice for small businesses there. I wanted just to quickly touch on a new strategic partner that you've just announced with Gilbert and Tobin. Can you talk a little bit about that, and also whether you see sort of some of those larger firms coming into partnerships with smaller firms like your own as something that you see as a trend forming?
Sure. Yeah, so Gilbert and Tobin, obviously a big corporate law firm. The opportunity there is sort of twofold. One, there's a lot of clients that Gilbert and Tobin have. They service those clients at the sort of really high-end, high-end corporate transactional work. There's a lot of opportunity there with those clients to service them in the sort of higher volume business as usual style work, and so we see a real opportunity there. I think for Gilbert and Tobin as well, working with a business which is, innovative, and we have our own development team, all that sort of thing. There's opportunities for us to build tech together. Gilbert and Tobin are a very innovative law firm themselves, so that's why the partnership sort of works from that perspective.
There's a good cultural fit between the two.
Yeah, exactly, yeah. And the way that sort of worked is we did an initial round last year, got to know each other, and then they sort of invested in this latest round.
So they helped you with your round, and then...
Yeah, so they invested in a sort of bridge round last year, and then they've invested in this sort of Series B round that we've just raised, and I think that's a good way of doing things, sort of test out relationship, and then move forward if it's sort of, kind of like dating before getting married. So usually
a good idea.
Yeah, exactly, yeah. So, and look, is that something that's going to be happening more with large corporates? Potentially. At the end of the day, you can, if you're a large corporate, you can try and innovate within, or you can try and partner up with a startup, and both solutions are potentially could work, but there's certainly a lot to be said, I think, for working with startups. Yeah,
working together. We do have to wrap up soon, but I just wanted to talk quickly about your move from sort of big corporate law firms that you've worked all over the world to what you're doing now. How has that experience been? Would you recommend it? Are you loving it?
Yeah, sure. I mean, it's the best job I've ever had.
Cool.
Obviously, otherwise I wouldn't be doing it.
Are you the best boss you've ever had?
Probably, yeah. So it's been great. I really enjoy what I do every day. But on the other hand, I enjoyed working in the corporate space as well. So both are good, but I do think startups are fantastic, and I think with the team that we have now, and the greatest part of working at LegalVision is seeing people come in, take on responsibility, and end up leading teams very, very quickly. Something that is very difficult to do in big corporates, particularly big law firms, where it's now sort of 15 years before you make partner, and that's where I think startups are kind of exciting because you can get responsibility much earlier.
Yeah, a great place to be. Look, some really good advice. We have to wrap up. Thank you so much, Lachlan, for coming on the show. LegalVision, check them out. That's it from me at Business Success. I'm Chloe James for RFI Group. I hope you enjoyed tonight's show, learned a few things about online platforms and their increasing success in the business space. Have a great night, and I'll see you next week.
After the 7-seat Kia Sorento won 2 Australia's Best Cars awards,